The View is off the air, finally.
Today, life on the planet is in a little bit of trouble. And we're the cause of it.
Morgan Freeman, the legendary actor with a voice that could make a grocery list sound profound, recently found himself in the middle of a chaotic and frankly disappointing interview on The View. Now, if you've ever seen the show, you know it's no stranger to heated debates and awkward moments, but this segment might just take the cake. Picture this: you've got one of the most accomplished actors of our time, someone who's been in iconic films like The Shawshank Redemption and Driving Miss Daisy, sitting across from the co-hosts. You'd think this would be an opportunity for meaningful, thought-provoking discussion, right? Wrong.
People online are split about this.
Instead of capitalizing on the depth and wisdom of a man like Freeman, the host turned the interview into a circus of empty chatter, climate panic, and misguided attempts at race-related discussions. And just when you think it couldn't get any worse, the segment was abruptly cut short, leaving viewers scratching their heads and asking, what just happened? So let's break this down. Freeman appeared on the show to promote his new Netflix documentary, Life on Our Planet. The series dives deep into Earth's history, exploring the rise and fall of species over millions of years, and how life adapts in the face of catastrophic events. A fascinating topic, no doubt, and one that Freeman is clearly passionate about. He explained, I am one of those people who's very interested in this subject, life on the planet. You understand that today. Life on the planet is in a little bit of trouble, and we're the cause of it. He wasn't pulling any punches when it came to discussing humanity's role in climate change, adding,
Said, if we don't hurry up and change our ways, there's going to be a cataclysmic event.
Now, this should have been a perfect jumping off point for a meaningful conversation, right? But instead of diving into the nuances of environmental science or Freeman's personal insights, Joy Behar interrupted with an over-the-top reaction, exclaiming, oh God, it's scary. And that was just the beginning of the chaos. The conversation quickly devolved into alarmist rhetoric about climate change, with Behar and Sunny Hostin throwing in half-baked comments that added little value to the discussion. Freeman, ever the professional, didn't lose his cool. In fact, he subtly mocked the hysteria, pointing out, life is tenacious. We're not talking about human beings here, we're talking about the planet. She'll stay. Freeman's calm and grounded response was a breath of fresh air amidst the panic, but it seemed to go right over the hosts' heads. Behar, clearly unsettled, said, the planet will be tenacious if we leave it alone, as if she just stumbled upon some groundbreaking revelation. Freeman, unbothered, continued to emphasize the resilience of life on Earth, but the conversation had already veered off course.
Pretty good, huh? Remember the old days when you could turn on network television and hear something that actually made sense?
What made Freeman's perspective so compelling was his ability to zoom out and look at the bigger picture. He wasn't trying to scare people into action or preach about doom. Instead, he was offering a realistic and grounded view of life's resilience on Earth. This wasn't just about humanity's mistakes or triumphs. It was about understanding the cycles of life and extinction that have shaped the planet for billions of years. He even pointed out that while humans are contributing to the current climate crisis, the Earth itself has endured far worse catastrophes in the past and will continue to adapt long after we're gone. It was a message of humility and perspective, something the hosts seemed incapable of grasping in their rush to make the conversation dramatic. And let's not forget, Freeman didn't shy away from personal responsibility either. He mentioned that he drives an electric car, subtly alluding to the fact that individuals can make changes without succumbing to hysteria. But what stood out the most was his calm demeanor. While the co-hosts spiraled into alarmist talking points, Freeman remained composed, steering the conversation back to the facts. This balance of accountability and pragmatism is exactly what makes Freeman such a compelling figure. He's not here to lecture or divide, he's here to encourage thoughtful reflection.
It's all of this sort of symbolic silliness, but the real moment in that, the kernel in that little video there, is when Morgan Freeman looks directly at Mike Wallace after he says he's Jewish, and he goes, do you want one? Meaning, do you want a month? A Jewish History Month. Maybe there is one. I actually don't even know. They probably added one since. Do you want one? And Mike Wallace is right. No, whoa. Why would I want one of those, man? I don't want that.
Unfortunately, instead of gauging with Freeman's nuanced points, the hosts seemed more interested in pushing their own narratives. This was a moment where they could have asked deeper questions like whether humanity's innovation might help reverse environmental damage, or how Freeman's personal experiences shaped his views on the environment. Instead, they wasted precious time with surface-level remarks that felt more like sound bites than genuine attempts at conversation. It was a missed opportunity, plain and simple. And then, because apparently one train wreck wasn't enough, Sunny decided to pivot the discussion to Freeman's work on a documentary about Black history, specifically the 761st Tank Battalion, also known as the original Black Panthers. Now, let's be clear, this could have been a fantastic opportunity to discuss Freeman's perspective on history, representation, and the importance of telling these stories. But instead, Sunny framed her question in a way that came off as performative, asking, as some politicians around the country try to erase Black history, you're making sure people don't forget vital parts of our past. This film must have been very personal to you. Freeman, who has been vocal about his views on topics like Black History Month and the term African American, handled the question with grace. He explained the significance of the 761st Tank Battalion and how their story has long been overlooked in mainstream narratives, but you could tell he wasn't impressed with the way the topic was being handled. And honestly, who could blame him? Here's a man who has repeatedly said, "My history is American history," and yet the hosts seem determined to box him into a narrow, one-dimensional conversation about race.
Black History Month you find
ridiculous.
why?
You're going to relegate my history to a month?
Oh, come on.
What do you do with yours? Which month is White History Month?
At this point, it became painfully obvious that the hosts hadn't done their homework. Freeman has been consistent in his views for years, famously telling Mike Wallace in a 2005 interview, "I don't want a Black History Month. Black history is American history." He's also criticized the term African American, saying, "What does it really mean? Most Black people in this part of the world are mongrels, and you say Africa as if it's a country when it's a continent, like Europe." These are nuanced, thought-provoking positions that could have led to a rich discussion, but instead the hosts fumbled the ball.
Oh, well, come on, tell me.
Well, I'm Jewish.
Okay, which month is Jewish History Month?
There isn't one.
Oh, why not?
Yeah.
Do you want one?
No.
No, I don't either. I don't want a Black History Month.
And then came the ultimate insult. They ran out of time. Whoopi Goldberg, clearly sensing the awkwardness, tried to wrap things up by saying, "This is extraordinary," but the damage was already done. The segment ended abruptly, leaving Freeman visibly unimpressed and the audience wondering why they even bothered tuning in. But wait, it gets better. The episode was mysteriously wiped from the View's YouTube channel shortly after it aired. That's right, they tried to erase the whole thing as if the internet wouldn't notice. Thankfully, the Wayback Machine came to the rescue, preserving the segment for all to see. The attempt to bury the episode only fueled speculation that the producers knew they'd dropped the ball.
As we come to the end of Black History Month, we want to take another look at everyone that we've honored this year.
Fans were quick to weigh in, with one commenting, "I'm 67 and a white guy. Morgan to me is an icon. I love and respect the man." Thomas Sowell, Victor Davis Hanson, and Morgan Freeman on their own talk show would be the best discussions. How I wish it could be so. Another added, "Morgan Freeman is an American icon. He's one of my favorite actors, and he is priceless." Clearly, the audience recognizes Freeman's wisdom and gravitas, even if the View doesn't. Freeman himself has spoken about the importance of thoughtful dialogue, saying in a separate interview, "If you don't know your past, if you don't remember it, you are bound to repeat it." He's a man who values history, not as a tool for division, but as a means of understanding and growth. Unfortunately, that message seemed lost on the hosts.
Black history is American history.
How are we going to get rid of racism?
Stop talking about it. I'm going to stop calling you a white man.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you to stop calling me a black man. I know you as Mike Wallace. You know me as Morgan Freeman. You're going to say, "Well, I know this white guy named Mike Wallace." You know?
To make matters worse, the interview didn't just fail Freeman, it failed the viewers. This was a rare chance to hear from a legend, someone who's lived through decades of change in Hollywood and society at large, and instead, we got a disjointed mess of alarmism and pandering. Freeman has often said, Hollywood is colorblind, it only sees green. He sees a man who understands the complexities of race, representation, and progress, and he's not afraid to speak his mind. But instead of engaging with those ideas, The View opted for shallow sound bites and sensationalism.
Whoopi has to rest her ginormous mouth in bad attitude.
So what's the takeaway here? For one, it's a reminder that not every platform is equipped to handle a guest of Freeman's caliber, and for another, it's a wake-up call for shows like The View to do better. If you're going to invite someone like Morgan Freeman onto your show, you'd better come prepared. Otherwise, you're not just wasting his time, you're wasting ours. Now here's the real question. Do you think The View will learn from this train wreck of an interview, or will they keep making the same mistakes? And what would you have asked Morgan Freeman if you'd been in the host's shoes? Let us know in the comments below. And as always, thank you for watching. See you next time.